I'd gone through a lot, a huge emotional and spiritual battle.
Why is the story of Lauryn Hill so sad? What happened to the talented singer and rapper who once had a bright future? Why did she struggle despite her success?
I knew his life deserved a chance, but everybody...
How did her career change so quickly? Did she ever find happiness again? Let's take a look at Lauryn Hill's life.
I grew up around a lot of music. Like Spanish guitarists who some people, wouldn't even know. People like Gilberto and Jose Feliciano.
Lauryn Hill is widely considered the most important artifact of feminism in hip-hop. She became the first hip-hop album to bring home the award show's highest honor. Her 10 nominations and 5 wins were the most ever by a female artist. But before starting her solo career. Born on May 26, 1975, Lauryn grew up in South Orange, New Jersey. She always had big dreams. At just 13, she appeared on the TV show Showtime at the Apollo and sang Smokey Robinson's song, Who's Lovin' You? Sadly, the audience booed her, but she didn't give up. That moment showed how tough and determined she was. In high school, Lauryn met Praise Michel, a Haitian-American musician. Praise had started a music group and asked Lauryn to join. Lauryn, Praz, and another singer named Marcy Harrell formed a group called Time.
I started the Fugees. It was myself, this girl named Marcy, and then she introduced me to Lauryn Hill. So it was actually me and 2 girls, so me, Marcy, and Lauryn.
They started recording songs with a reggae vibe, but Praz felt something was missing. He called his friend Wyclef Jean, who helped them take their music to the next level.
He was just very dramatic, and we made good music.
When Wyclef first saw Lauryn, he was impressed by her talent and beauty. But Praz told Wyclef to stay away from Lauryn because she was too young. Respecting Praz's wishes, Wyclef focused on the music instead. Lauryn, Praz, and Wyclef eventually formed the Fugees, and their blend of hip-hop and reggae became a huge hit. Their second album, The Score, sold millions of copies and made Lauryn a star.
I chose to become a rapper because, I had a lot of things that I wanted to say. And at that point, R&B music wasn't really being used to make any statements. It was hip-hop.
After the Fugees, Lauryn went solo. In 1998, she released her first album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. This album mixed reggae, hip-hop, and soul, and was a massive success. It sold over 8 million copies and won 5 Grammy Awards, including Best New Artist. Songs like Doo Wop, That Thing, and X Factor made her a legend in music. Lauryn in recent times spoke with Rolling Stone about her experiences with fame. At just 23 years old, she became one of the biggest names in music, especially after her solo album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. While she seemed confident and joyful on the outside, she shared that her journey was far from easy. Behind the scenes, Lauryn faced struggles that many didn't know about. One of the most personal stories she shared in the interview was about her song, To Zion.
I knew his life deserved a chance, but everybody told...
This song is about her decision to keep her first child, even though people close to her advised against it. Friends and family told her that having a baby could hurt her career. At the time, Lauryn was at the peak of her success, and many thought she should focus on her music. But Lauryn followed her heart and decided to have her son. She said it was the most important choice she ever made. In the song, Lauryn talks about her faith and how her belief in God guided her. She used her experience to inspire other women, especially women of color, to trust their instincts and take control of their own lives. Her decision showed that a woman doesn't have to choose between motherhood and her dreams. When Lauryn decided to go solo, it wasn't easy. She faced criticism and doubt, even from people who should have supported her, but she didn't let that stop her. Lauryn explained that she wasn't trying to prove anything to others. Instead, she wanted to create something special, something that she felt was missing in the world.
I'd gone through a lot, a huge emotional and spiritual battle.
Originally, Lauryn thought she would work with other producers and artists on the album, but she realized that her vision was so personal and unique that she had to do it her way when she released her famous album. It was a huge success, reaching #1 on the Billboard charts and selling 689,000 copies in just 2 weeks. Critics called it a masterpiece, and Lauryn was praised as a musical genius. That same year, Lauryn got pregnant again and gave birth to her second child, CeeLo Louise Marley, in November.
100% true. She couldn't tune her guitar in rehearsal. She would come in rehearsal and say, Benji, guitar, and just hold it out like this. He would run and turn the guitar.
Oh, God. Okay.
But trouble was brewing. Just a month later, a group of musicians called New Ark filed a lawsuit against Lauryn. They claimed they helped write and produce songs on her album, but didn't get the credit they deserved. They also said they contributed to Aretha Franklin's song, "A Rose Is Still a Rose," but weren't acknowledged. According to a source, Lauryn didn't have written agreements with the people she worked with on her album. She reportedly told them, "We all love each other. This isn't about paperwork. This is blessed." Despite the legal issues, Lauryn took home 5 Grammy Awards in 1999 for her album. Eventually, Lauryn settled the lawsuit. Rolling Stone reported that she paid New Ark $5 million. Losing credit for her work was a tough blow, and it left Lauryn feeling defeated. A friend shared with Rolling Stone that this was the start of a series of problems that would make Lauryn's life more difficult. Lauryn didn't stop winning awards, though.
And the album of the year is The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill.
At the 2000 Grammy Awards, she won her 8th Grammy for her collaboration with Carlos Santana on his album Supernatural. But behind the scenes, her personal life was falling apart. Lauryn was juggling being a mother, dealing with her relationship struggles, and financially supporting her family. She felt a lot of pressure to keep the success of her first album alive. It became overwhelming, and her life began to unravel. This was just the beginning of Lauryn's challenges and controversy. One of the main issues fans and critics have pointed out is her inconsistent performances. Many people have complained that she often shows up late to concerts or cancels them at the last minute. When she does perform, her live shows are sometimes very different from her famous songs. Some fans even say that the songs sound so different, they are barely recognizable. This has caused a lot of frustration for people who love Lauryn Hill's music.
Listen, if you feel real good, put your hands in the air.
They expect to hear the songs they know and love, but sometimes they get something completely different. This can make fans feel disappointed, especially when they paid money for tickets or traveled long distances to see her perform.
That people need to know. Some people might have bought tickets. I hope you didn't. But I told y'all. When it was first announced, I told y'all this tour was not happening and this shit was gonna get canceled. And Lauryn Hill is blaming the media for sensationalizing
her last canceled tours.
Canceled tours and missing shows and shit.
Another issue that has caused problems for Lauryn Hill is her legal troubles with touring contracts. Some concert promoters have accused her of breaking contracts. This usually happens when she arrives late to a show or does not perform in the way she agreed to. One big incident happened at the 58th Annual Grammy Awards. Lauryn Hill was supposed to make a surprise appearance with the artist The Weeknd. However, she missed the performance, and people started criticizing her. The president of the Recording Academy, which runs the Grammys, said Lauryn Hill was late and didn't show up when she was supposed to. But Lauryn Hill's team quickly responded. Her representatives said that the Grammy organizers had announced Lauryn would perform without getting her approval first. Her team claimed that Lauryn Hill never agreed to perform with The Weeknd, and that the Grammy organizers made a mistake by announcing it publicly. Hill's rep said that she had concerts all weekend and simply didn't have enough time to get to Los Angeles and rehearse for the show. The Grammy organizers didn't agree with this. They said that Lauryn Hill attended a dress rehearsal that morning, but missed a few rehearsals before that. They also said she was late on the night of the show. Despite the delays, the performance didn't happen, and The Weeknd ended up performing alone. The president of the Recording Academy said that while he couldn't explain why Lauryn Hill was late, he gave credit to The Weeknd for doing a great job on stage. Lauryn Hill's team was upset about all the negative comments. They said they had made it clear from the start that Lauryn Hill could not confirm her performance at the Grammys. Her representative also explained that the performance was supposed to be a surprise, so Lauryn Hill didn't want to confirm it publicly before the event. They also mentioned that Lauryn Hill tried her best to make it to Los Angeles in time, but it just didn't work out.
Okay, some news just breaking to us in the last couple of minutes. A former member of the Fugees has been convicted of 10 finance-related federal charges, including money laundering and campaign finance violations. You probably remember the Fugees.
Recently, in 2024, Hill was sued by her former bandmate, Pras Michel. He is accusing her of breaking a contract and mishandling money during their tours. The lawsuit was filed on October 1st, and it says that Hill and her company, MLH, were in charge of the business side of the 2023 Fugees tour. Pras claims that Hill didn't keep things clear and didn't tell him where the money was going, especially when it came to paying bills and crew members. Pras, who is 51 years old, says that Hill and MLH didn't pay for everything they promised, like hotel costs and credit card bills. They also didn't pay the musicians and crew, even though the money was meant to cover these things. Pras believes that Hill's management of the tour was just a way for her to take money for herself. The lawsuit also says that the 2023 tour could have made a lot of money. Most of the shows were sold out before they even started. However, Pras says the tour was set up with too many expenses, many of which he believes were made up, making it impossible for the tour to make a profit. Because of this, Pras didn't get any money, and the tour ended early in November 2023 because Hill said she had serious vocal strain. Another part of the lawsuit talks about Hill's attitude. Pras claims that Hill has narcissistic tendencies, which means she thinks very highly of herself. He gives an example of this when he says Hill turned down a $5 million offer to perform at Coachella, a huge music festival. The reason? She didn't want to perform if no doubt another band was going to get top billing that night. Pras says Hill didn't tell him about the offer or why she turned it down. He only found out when Hill asked him if he would perform Fugees songs for free as the opening act for her son, YG Marley, who was also scheduled to perform at Coachella. In short, Pras Michel is suing Lauryn Hill because he says she didn't handle their 2023 tour well. He believes Hill misused the money, didn't pay what was promised, and hurt the group's chances of making a profit.
End of the day, she has a reputation of people being disappointed by her being late, different things like that.
Canceling.
Or canceling the show.
True.
That's not something the media made up. That's something that actually happened.
Lauryn also faced rumors and was misunderstood. One of the most famous stories that followed her for years was a quote from 1996, where it was claimed she said she'd rather her children starve than have white people buy her albums. Hill addressed this in 1998 during an interview with MTV. She said it really hurt her because she thought her music was for everyone, no matter their race. She explained that the rumor started when a radio personality said something on his show, and it led people to believe something that wasn't true. It was just a rumor, but it stuck with her, and she had to defend herself against it. Remember her MTV Unplugged No. 2.0, released in 2002? It was a raw and emotional album that showed Hill was struggling with the pressure of fame. The album was poorly received, with critics describing it as overly raw and unpolished. This backlash led to a prolonged hiatus from music. In one of the songs, she said she no longer considered herself a performer because the public image she had created was too much to handle. She felt like she couldn't be herself anymore because she was always worried about how people would judge her. It was a tough time for Hill, and this album was her way of expressing that. Things didn't get easier for Hill. In 2003, she made headlines again during a concert in Vatican City, where she spoke out about the issue of child abuse by priests in the Catholic Church. She told the crowd that the church needed to repent for the harm it had done to families. Her comments were controversial, and many people didn't agree with her. The Catholic League called her behavior disrespectful and rude, but Hill stood by what she said. For her, telling the truth was more important than worrying about the reactions of others.
Wyclef and Lauryn Hill start to have a romantic relationship.
That's what they said.
Right, it's what Wyclef said in his book.
Oh, he wrote a book?
Now let's look back at the early part of her career. Wyclef became a mentor to Lauryn, claiming he taught her how to rap and even wrote many of her rhymes. Lauryn also worked on her acting career. She landed a role on the soap opera As the World Turns, and after finishing high school, had more time to focus on her passions. The group experimented with different names, like the Translator Crew, before settling on the Fugees. Lauryn's big break in acting came in 1993 when she appeared in the movie Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit. That same year, the Fugees signed their first record deal with Rough House Records. In 1994, the Fugees released their first album, Blunted on Reality. Pras joked in an interview that it sold just 12 copies, but the group became popular in underground music circles. They started performing worldwide. During this time, Lauryn and Wyclef's relationship became romantic. However, Wyclef was already in a long-term relationship with Claudinette, who later became his wife.
So he was talking about, I guess, was Wyclef married at the time?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, he's still married.
Yeah. Yeah, I just didn't know, when he got married. So at the time that the score came out, he was married.
Wyclef referred to Lauryn as his muse, and their second album, The Score, reflected the ups and downs of their relationship. Wyclef confessed that he loved Lauryn for the music they created together, but insisted his love for Claudinette was different. In 1994, Wyclef married Claudinette in his father's church, and Lauryn attended the wedding. Wyclef wrote in his memoir that Lauryn was respectful during the ceremony because he had spoken to her beforehand, making it clear that his decision was final. In 1996, the Fugees released The Score, which became a massive success. With hit songs like Killing Me Softly, Fugee-La, and Ready or Not, the album went 6 times platinum and won 2 Grammy Awards. Critics started encouraging Lauryn to go solo, saying she should leave Wyclef and Pras behind. However, Lauryn stayed loyal to the group. Pras told Rolling Stone that Pepsi even offered Lauryn a solo commercial, but she refused, saying, "Without them, I'm not doing it." The group went back on tour, but Lauryn and Wyclef started their romance again.
You may think you got it under control, but these things never end well. How do you know? There's about 1,000 groups that try that before us, and it almost never works well. I'm just saying.
Wyclef admitted in his memoir that he didn't want to end their relationship, even though it was complicated. He had a plan. He would stay with Lauryn until she found someone else and got married. Then they could move forward as just friends and music partners.
Did you know about all this happening?
Man, I was counting my money, man, to be honest with you. I mean, I knew there was riff going around, but I was focused, man. I was focused on trying to get this money.
In 1996, the Fugees were on fire. Their music was everywhere, and they even joined the Smokin' Grooves tour, performing alongside stars like Cypress Hill and Ziggy Marley. During the tour, Lauryn Hill met Rohan Marley, who was traveling with his brother Ziggy. At first, Lauryn wasn't interested in Rohan. She was still in love with Wyclef Jean, her bandmate in the Fugees. People around Lauryn encouraged her to give Rohan a chance, hoping it would help her move on from Wyclef. But it wasn't that simple. According to sources, Rohan had his own issues and drama that would only make things messier. In April 1997, after the tour ended, the Fugees performed a massive concert in Haiti. For Wyclef and Pras Michel, it was an honor to represent their homeland. For Lauryn, it was memorable for another reason. She revealed her baby bump to the world. This caused a buzz. People wondered who the baby's father was. Wyclef, in his memoir, admitted he thought the child might be his. Around this time, Lauryn was ready to make more music, but the tensions in the Fugees were growing. Lauryn decided to focus on her own songs, which caused friction with Wyclef. Lauryn had always been loyal to the group, and she wanted Wyclef's support, but he wasn't on board at first. When he finally agreed to help with her solo album, Lauryn had already decided she didn't want his involvement.
We all loved that album, Miseducation and Lauryn Hill, but it was largely about you, right? So while we all loved it, how did you feel about it?
A source said Lauryn wanted to make big hits, not just for success, but to prove herself. She wanted to outshine the Fugees and show Wyclef what she could do without him. She poured her heart into her debut album, even while working on songs for legends like Aretha Franklin and Whitney Houston. One of Lauryn's songs, To Zion, was especially personal. It reflected her choice to follow her heart, even when others told her to focus on her career. Lauryn gave birth to her son Zion in August 1997. The father wasn't Wyclef, it was Rohan Marley. Wyclef later admitted in his memoir that learning Lauryn had a baby with someone else changed how he saw her. He said their bond was broken, and she could no longer be his muse. Lauryn Hill seemed to have found happiness with Rohan Marley, but life had a big twist in store for her. Right after Lauryn gave birth to her first child, someone told her something shocking. Rohan was already married. Let's rewind a bit. Back on March 18, 1993, 3 years before meeting Lauryn, Rohan was a star athlete at the University of Miami. During his sophomore year, he married an 18-year-old woman. They had 2 children together, but Rohan never got divorced. This news hit Lauryn hard, but she decided to continue her relationship with Rohan. She even called him her husband.
I'd gone through a lot, you know, a huge emotional and spiritual battle.
The stress from her career and personal life became overwhelming. In 2000, Lauryn met a man called Brother Anthony, who some described as a cult leader. Friends worried he was controlling her, calling him possessive and aggressive. After meeting him, Lauryn made big changes. She fired her management team, cut ties with friends, and stepped away from the spotlight. When Lauryn returned in 2001, she looked different. At the Essence Awards, she had cut her hair short and looked sad. That same year, she recorded an MTV Unplugged special, but her voice was raspy and strained. Between songs, she cried and talked about feeling crazy. Fans were shocked, and the album did not sell well. Lauryn tried to work on a second album, but faced problems. She wanted full credit for every song, even asking collaborators to work for free for God. Studio sessions kept being delayed, and many people left the project. Between 2002 and 2003, Lauryn gave birth to 2 more children, Joshua and John. She also decided to go by Miss Hill, saying it was a sign of the respect she deserved. By the end of 2003, Lauryn moved back to New Jersey with her kids, leaving behind her life with Rohan in Miami. Though they were no longer living together, Rohan said they were still spiritually connected. Over the years, Lauryn tried reuniting with her Fugees bandmates, but disagreements, like her chronic lateness, caused tension. A planned reunion album never happened. In 2011, Lauryn had her 6th child, Micah, but Rohan confirmed he wasn't the father. By then, he had moved on and was engaged to another woman. He later said their relationship fell apart because they had different views on life. In 2013, Lauryn was sentenced to 3 months in jail for not paying her taxes. After her release, she returned to performing, but fans complained about her being late and changing her songs too much during concerts. Lauryn explained that she remixes her songs to keep them fresh. In a Rolling Stone interview, Lauryn Hill reflected on her time in the spotlight and admitted that fame brought a lot of difficulties. She said that she wished she had done some things differently. For example, she would have tried harder to protect herself and her children from the pressures of fame. She also talked about how difficult it was to communicate her true feelings about her music, especially during the making of her famous album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Hill mentioned that she would have stood up for herself more and removed people who weren't helpful to her earlier in her career. Lauryn Hill's career has been a mix of highs and lows. While she has a huge fan base and has created some of the most iconic music of her time, her live performances and issues with contracts have sometimes overshadowed her talent. Despite this, she continues to be a respected figure in the music world, even if her relationship with fans and the music industry remains complicated.